Hi. Hello and welcome to another of my knitting podcasts. My name is Andrea and I live in the Netherlands. I'm a knitter. I make YouTube videos, as you can tell, about knitting. It's currently early in the morning. Well, not super early, but it has just been light enough to film on October 25th. Tomorrow I'm going to be flying to the US to attend a friend's wedding. If you have watched my videos before, you know that my boyfriend is from the US, but this has nothing to do with him, so he's not even coming along. So at the end I'm going to talk about some of my plans that I have for knitting while traveling, and also because it's in a really hot part of the US, it's in the south. So and today I'm actually really busy because I am still working from home today. I decided to sew my own wedding outfit, and then while I was doing that I decided to sew another pair of trousers. So I'm busy, and then I was like, oh, I need to film another podcast too, because I haven't let you guys know anything about what my knitting has been. Oh, first off, well, I'll talk about the elephant in the room soon. But first off, I want to thank all of you guys. I have gotten some really nice comments and some really lovely comments, and I want to thank you for supporting me and supporting my channel. And it still feels really weird because right now I'm just talking to my phone, but it's so lovely to read comments to whatever I post somewhere in the internet, and then people find it and are just so lovely. So thank you for that. Yeah. Okay. Just so you know, I'm going to try to keep it short today. Well, you will know already because you will have seen how long this video is. But I'm going to try to keep it short because I have limited time today. So let's talk about what I'm wearing, because it's obvious that something is finished here, and it's my Alpenglow. So here's the Alpenglow. There's the corrugated ribbing at the bottom, and this beautiful color work, and then the sleeves, and yeah, the end of the sleeves. I really enjoyed knitting this. Even the body felt super short to knit because you're knitting, it's in mosaic knitting. I've never done that before, but really it's cheat color work. It's so nice. You're like, so the idea for anyone who doesn't know what mosaic knitting is that you slip stitches. So the rounds where you work your contrasting color, you slip the, in my case, black stitches. So it was really nice because you don't have to have two strands of yarn and then decide to do one English style, one continental, or two on one finger. None of those difficult things that you have to do here. Yeah, it was really nice. So the yarn that I used, for some reason I kept all of my labels this time, but I don't actually know why I did that. So what I used is Drops Baby Merino for the black and the blue on top here. So this is a superwash merino, yarn group A from Drops. So it's like, I think it's a sport weight. It was asked for a sport weight, so I bought a sport weight. And it's 100% merino, but it's superwash. And I don't think I've ever worked with superwash wool before, or maybe I have, but it hasn't been like this. This is kind of, it felt a little bit like plasticky to work with. So just so you know, it's nice to wear, and it's nice that I can wash all of these yarns in the washing machine, I think. Because this sorry for the chaotic mind here. It's early in the morning. The gray or light blue is brushed alpaca silk from Drops in the color 14. I think it's something like mist. Yeah, and then the color, like the contrasting color that goes from green to like more red, is a sock yarn that I got from VMCJ Knitwear. I've talked about her before. She's a Dutch hand dyer, and she dyes beautiful sock yarns. So I have some of that set left. Coffee break while the ambulance came by. It went from light green to, yeah, all the way to this pink at the top, basically. So, yeah, I'm gonna knit socks with these. That's my plan for some time. Anyway, yeah, so that's that yarn. What else? Oh yeah, as you can probably tell, I've folded this in. Sorry, my camera stopped filming. I'm back. I was saying my sleeves are a little too long. So, let's see. Yeah, it's like, even when I blocked it, I like stretched it out widthwise, so I would have a little less room. But yeah, it's still too long, so I'll just wear it for a little bit and then see what I'll do. I might even just go in here and do like just a cuff in this without any color work, or because here's the same color work with the peaks, kind of. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say too. My color choice. So I saw the original from Andrea Mowry. Oh, it's the Alpenglow by Andrea Mowry. Sorry. This was this year's Rhinebeck sweater for her. Rhinebeck was last weekend, I think. Well, I don't go because I live in the Netherlands. But her sample was like dark with warm contrast. And I thought it would be fun to have a cooler contrast. And also, my idea, look, it's like the sky, and then the mountain peaks, then the mountains, and then the green is the grass, and then it goes to like reds and pinks, it's flowers. Doesn't make any sense, but then the sleeves don't make sense, right? Yeah. Anyway, it's funny because I heard other people talk about how they like their sweaters, and then some people are like, oh yeah, I like it when it goes right here. But when I have my sleeves like this now, I'm like, I definitely want my sleeves to be here. And then maybe that if you stretch them out, you can like tuck your hands in. But yeah, this is not the kind of sweater where you want to tuck yourself into it, I think. But yeah. So that's my Alpenglow. I feel like I have a lot more to say, but I am blanking this morning. Oh yeah, the amount, the length. I did one more repeat of the mosaic knitting in the body, and I did the recommended amount on the sleeves. So I should have done one less on the sleeves, but that's me. My arms are very, very short. I know that. You know that this width from your fingertips to your fingertips is supposed to be your height. For me, I think it's -5 centimeters. So I have short arms. All right, so that's my first finished object and also what I'm wearing. Then I have another finished object and it's still a little damp because I blocked it together with this one, but this one is dry and this one isn't. It's my Alpenglow, no, it's my Musselburgh. So, oh, it smells so nice. So the idea is, so it's still a little damp, so I'm not going to do it now. But the idea is that you fold this into here. So then you have this as the top. And yeah, I think it's, I already wore it before blocking. Actually, my boyfriend mostly wore it. It's like, I think this is going to be a very nice hat for you. And he's like, eh. I knitted him a bunch of hats. But I noticed that he really likes those beanie type of hats that have like kind of like the Musselburgh. So I thought I'll knit that one and see if he likes that. And if he doesn't like that, then I'm never going to knit him a hat again because he doesn't. He does wear the hats sometimes, but he just, yeah, doesn't matter. He really liked this one, so that's good. So good even that I guessed on another one. So the thing I noticed when I wore that one, I knitted that one in the 5.5 stitches per inch, and that's a, yeah, so that was with 4mm needles, and I noticed that it was still a little big on me, even though I did the child/adult small. So then I thought, okay, I'm gonna go also with a DK weight. So this is also a DK weight, 100% merino. That one is 50% cotton, 50% merino. I'm gonna go down a needle size, and I'm gonna go to the toddler size. So I'm knitting the toddler size, but for me. Yeah, I like tight hats. I noticed that hat was a little too, yeah. But now that I'm knitting it, it looks so tiny. So yeah, we'll see. If it's too small for me, yeah, I don't think it's going to be too small for me. Because if you like look at this, that's definitely wide enough for me. Because it also stretches out, right? Whoops, drop some stitches. In Dutch, you have a lot of sayings, and one of them is literally means to drop a stitch. And it means like to make a little mistake. And it's funny because my non-knitting friends, I then say, oh, I dropped a stitch, and then they say, oh, hey, that's from the saying. And then they realize where the saying is from. And it's really funny because it's from knitting. It's steekje laten vallen in Dutch. In case you're interested, random story. So that's my new Musselburgh hat, and it's also nice to have something in stockinette to just knit on and knit on. So yeah, that's a whip. Then I have two other whips, and the first one was I talked about this one in my previous podcast. It is a test knit, and I am super happy because I finished the requirements for the test knit on time. I was very stressed out because I felt like I wasn't going to be able to do it in time, because let me talk about the pattern first. This is the Aurelia Pullover by Sari Nordlund, and it's this, well, you can see it's just this beautiful cabled sweater, and it has so much intricate details. It has bobbles, it has moss stitch, it has, yeah, so much. Cables, different types of cables going around, everything. And I knitted on the yoke, and it took forever because I had to like switch every time you go past your raglan. You have a different chart, and then you have a different chart. So it was a lot of thinking, and I like to knit while watching TV and doing other stuff. So it was a little bit, it asked a lot of my attention, and it took a lot of time. I think I spent like an hour per round around the yoke. So you can imagine how much time has gone in this already. But then I came to the sleeves. So the requirement was to finish the yoke and one sleeve, and then tell Sari, hey, I have enough yarn. Your estimate for the yarn is correct. So I got to the sleeves, and then it just went so smooth, because then you just have this cable, well, just compared to the yoke, it was easy. And then on the other side it's moss stitch. At least I thought this was moss stitch. But then I got the final pattern in it. So what I did is purl over knit and knit over purl. So you like do purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, and then in the next round you do knit one over the purls and then purl one over the knits, etc. But then I saw the final pattern and it said like repeat the same one 2 times, and then after that the opposite 2 times. So you would have knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, then above the knits knit one, and then above the purls purl, and then so it's a 4 row repeat. So I think I did that wrong, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But that was interesting, because between here you also have moss stitch, which I thought was moss stitch, but now I'm confused. But I guess it doesn't matter, I'll just continue doing what I was doing. The yarn, this is JC Rennie Super Soft, the original Super Soft. Apparently they were the first ones to call it Super Soft wool. It's I think it's 3-ply actually, 2-ply. And I hold it double, so to create a DK weight, and it's knit on 4mm needles, and the colorway is Ugie Pearl, and I'm not sure if you can see it well now, but it's gray with all these like different colors in it. So it has pinks, purples, blues, greens, even like little speckles of red sometimes, yellow kind of. It's just beautiful. The only thing is, and I talked about that in my previous podcast, but it's very smelly, the yarn. They say that on the website, so I knew that. So I decided to get all my yarn into skeins. So I grabbed out my Swift, and I like reverse Swifted it, so to get all the yarn on the Swift. Then I made it into like, so I tied it 4 times so that you have like a big circle of yarn, and then I washed it all, and it's so much yarn. I'll see if I can take a picture and put it in this podcast, but put it on the screen, I mean, because it's just like a huge pile of just wool. Like you come from this like tiny cone to like this huge pile of wool. It's really funny, but it's still a little smelly. So I hope it's going to be a little better to work with, not so strong the smell. Yeah, and then I can continue this. And my goal is to finish this one and my next whip before, so I'm going on a strip for a week. I'll be back in the beginning of November, and then 2 weeks later I'll be moving to South Africa with my boyfriend for 2 months, and I want to finish this sweater and the other sweater before then. So that's my goal, because I don't want to take any whips with me. Well, at least not heavy sweaters. So that's that. Yeah, and then I'll show you my other whip. So before I show my next whip, I wanted to show you, I got one of the skeins that I made. So this, you can go like this, and then folds into itself. Perfect demonstration, this. Amazing. Okay, yeah, no, it's pretty good. And then you have a skein, or hank. How do these call them? Nah. So this is washed. It still smells, it smells pretty good actually. So yeah, I think it will be a lot nicer to knit with it for my Aurelia Pullover. Alright, then the next whip, or my last whip actually, is the sweater for my boyfriend. And I got super far. So I think last time I was somewhere here, somewhere in the stripes. So I made the collar, and then I started one of the sleeves, and I stopped knitting it because I realized it's probably a little too short. So I thought I would block it and see how long it is. Oh, that's what I forgot to tell you about the Aurelia Pullover. So what I did was, because I had to finish, sorry, because I had to finish one sleeve, I was at a point where I was like, it might be ready to get to the cuff now, even though it still said to knit longer, but I thought I should block it. So I asked Sari Nordlund if it was okay if I stopped there and worked on the other sleeve, and then block it so I know if it's long enough, and she was fine with that. So that was really nice. And then when I tried it on, it was definitely already long enough. So I was really happy with that. So blocking just made it long enough, and then I won't have these kind of things that the sweater sleeves are too long. So I don't like that. So I thought for this one, same thing, I should just block it and see how long it gets from blocking, and then see if it's long enough to make a cuff. Yeah, so it looks huge, but that is because my boyfriend is huge, and I was so scared it was going to be way too big, but it's not, so I'm really happy about that. But we have to see what the blocking does to it. So yeah, it's not made with a pattern. I am making this myself. I just made a spreadsheet with the colors, and yeah, I'm knitting it on these things that you've been hearing clicking. 5.5mm needles on those cubics that I bought, that I showed you in a different podcast. And the yarn I'm using is Drops Alaska. Drops Alaska is 100% wool yarn. It's super nice to use, I think. It's not treated or anything, it's just 100% wool. It's not scratchy. It's really nice. If you want to knit something in 5mm needles, 5.5, I'd really recommend this. It's really nice. And there's a lot of colors. Yeah, super nice. All right. Yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say about these two whips. Well, I have 3 whips, also the hat, but the hat is just in the random moments that you knit on that. So I wanted to knit, finish these before we fly to South Africa in 3 weeks. So yeah, then I wanted to talk about, you might have seen it, I got this. So this is, I guess this is an acquisition, but I got the Bacher, Lerke Bacher, I think. Bacher? Lerke. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce her first name. But I'm not Danish, I'm Dutch, so I don't know. This is a really nice book. It's so if you don't know Lerke Bacher, she is a, yeah, how do you call it? It's not really a, yeah, she is also a knitwear designer, but she mostly like, why would I pretend? Like, I don't really know that much about her, but I just thought her patterns were cool and I wanted to buy this book. If you want to know more about her, you should look it up yourself, because I'm just gonna like tell you some stuff. But it's a really fun book. It has a lot of different things in it. And little like techniques about unraveling and mostly using scrap yarn. So I saw this one sweater, and that's the reason I got it, which was the not so heavy sweater. I'll put it in a picture. But now that I'm reading this, I'm like, I can maybe maybe I would rather like use one of the patterns that I already own and use her scrap yarn techniques on it. So she has like 5 different scrap yarn techniques, which is amazing. Like, how are you so creative? Then I think like, these are all the things you can do with scrap yarn. There's no other ideas. And then she thinks of something else. It's so creative, it's super nice. So it's really nice to read about that. She also has a bunch of patterns in there. And then she also explains how to knit with beads, which is also really cool. So there's a lot of things in here. And I think it's a very beginner-friendly book. So it really explains everything from the start to finish. But like, look at this, for example. Yeah. So it has the pattern for this top, which is just a simple top. But then she also explains how to make it with beads and everything. But you could also do those techniques on patterns that you already own. So you don't need to knit one of her patterns to do the scrap yarns and the bead techniques. So that's really cool. And she really explains like how to, yeah, I'm not gonna give away what, because I think that's the whole point of this book, but she really like tells you how to space everything. I'll just keep it to that. The only thing in her patterns, so if any one of you guys also has this book, in the patterns it has a recommended needle size, but it says needle size 10, for example. And then I think she means 10 millimeter, but it could also be US 10, but that's a huge difference. I have somewhere, yeah, I'm not gonna get it, yeah. So let me know if you know what she means. I think it's millimeters, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Also online, I couldn't find it anywhere. So that's the acquisition. Wow, light coming in. Then, so I already said I'm gonna be traveling for a week, and I will be sharing my plans. So plan number 1, and you might have seen my video about this yarn and all the patterns I can knit with it. If not, I'll put a link somewhere. But I made my decision, and you might see what I'm gonna make if you know the pattern. But I did a Judy's Magic cast on, and I'm because I wanted to cast it on before I leave, because I don't want to do a Judy's Magic cast on in the plane. I just want to be able to knit once I'm in the plane and waiting at the airport and stuff. So I am knitting the Maude Tee by Petite Knit. So I made my decision. I kind of maybe already knew it somewhere in the back of my mind when I started that, when I made that video, but I still wanted to go over all my options that I had. So if you are interested in what options there are for this yarn, which is the Noro Kakigori, here's the Noro yarn, Noro Kakigori. So I made a video about all the projects I could knit with this yarn. It's 50% cotton, 30% silk, 10% viscose, and 10% polyamide. Yeah, so I made a video about that. So if you are interested something to knit with a DK weight or this yarn in specific, then you can go watch that. I decided to make the Maude Tee. So that's knitting plan number 1. And then my other knitting plan, and maybe I should say first the reason I'm not bringing my whips, and that is because I'm going to the south of the US and it's going to be very hot and I don't want to be working on very heavy wool. So here I have another wool. I don't know, I feel like that is like more a wintry garment and I don't want to work on a wintry garment in the heat. So, but this is leftover Colourmart yarn, which is a cashmere blend, 30% cashmere and 70% merino, and it's orange. And I have another, like a full cake. So this is the leftovers I had from that project that I was making. And my plan is to make the Camisole number 5. Camisole number 5 is one of the patterns that I saw when I first got into like more difficult knitting, and I thought it was just so beautiful, and that's why it's been on my list for such a long time and I really want to make it. So I think it's time, and I think I'm going to make it with this yarn. I have 700 meters in total, so that should be enough, but I'll just work the first until I get to somewhere in the body, then make the like rib for the neck, armhole edges. Yeah, I think it will be super nice. So those are my 2 projects because I wanted to have 2, or I want to bring 2, because what if I'm done with just plain knitting in the rounds and I want to go to 2x2 rib? What if? But I think this is a fair amount, so I'm going to take this yarn in total. So I think that's an okay amount to bring in your suitcase. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And I think that's all I have for today. As I said, I'm in a little bit of a time crunch. So yeah, I feel like I forgot to tell you some stuff, but I will talk about that next time then. For now, have a beautiful day, and I hope to talk to you soon. Okay, bye!